Hello and welcome to another video from Bit Repairs. This is Wayne, and finally we have a decent laptop to do the recording from. My other one, the Lenovo, kept on overheating and shutting down. In fact, I had the keyboard detached and a fan on top of the CPU to stop it overheating. We've now got a MacBook Pro. We're down at 60 frames per second and 11% CPU, so this should be a really good quality film, this one. The only difference is I don't have enough USB ports to plug in my proper microphone. Anyway, today we have quite a special video for you, actually. I've got an iPhone 6 that was sent in for backlight repair, and it was a prior repair attempt. So I called the customer up and said, do you mind me doing a video on this, because this is a special. Whoever done this repair, yeah. Anyway, I'll go straight into it, and what you can see here, if I just switch over to the microscope view, you will see Kapton tape, and you'll also see in a minute, if I remove this Kapton tape, you will see an unholy mess of wires. Now, I have done jumpers before for backlights, usually when there's pads missing, usually when there's things that are not going to let this repair go right. But what we have here is jumpers and a diode that's sat on top of the CPU. We've got a capacitor here that's been soldered to the ground plane and a jumper. See this here, if I just show you that there, I have unplugged the battery, we're okay. That capacitor there should be there. Why do you put a capacitor here and not back on the pads where it's supposed to go when there's nothing up with the pads? They've put one capacitor in, they've ripped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 capacitors, and these two here have nothing to do with the backlight. Have they done that by accident? I'm not sure. The other thing we have, if we go down here, this filter, this is one of my pet hates, absolute pet hates, in that there is a jumper. That is not the correct component for there. Why? It must take them quite some time to actually put that jumper in there. You know, to actually get that solder to go across that link there and not to be shorting out. You know, it must take a couple of minutes for them to do it. Why don't they just take the old one off and stick a new one on? It takes me as long to do that as it's going to take them to do this. Maybe they haven't got a microscope, I'm not sure. If you're doing these repairs and you haven't got a microscope, you shouldn't be doing these repairs. Just my opinion. That's not the correct backlight coil there. That's way too small. They've got this diode here on top of the CPU, like I said before. That must have taken some doing that. Running two jumpers from down there to on top of the CPU, and I just don't understand it. I'm really sorry, but I just, yeah, anyway. Enough of that, let's get into the repair now. So here we go, this is the phone. They didn't reattach the CPU shield. Fortunately, I have lots of spares here from dead phones that I've had from donor boards. So my repair is going to be, I'm going to remove all of the little unholy mess that they've created. I'm then going to put the diode in the right place. I am going to, I'll try and do this on camera. Let me just move this board over here. Right. So, let's get this board out first. Let's get the screws out. Okay, they've not put the standoff at the top. That standoff there is missing. Okay, that screw there. It's a little bit slower for me to do this on camera because it's me trying to hold the board in view for you to see is not the most... Oh, there's another screw missing from there. That's going to give signal issues. You know what I mean? Apple put these screws in for a reason. I'm sure the engineer didn't just go, oh yeah, let's just shove these screws in for the hell of it. That one. Whoa, nearly knocked my camera over. See how unnatural it is to try and work with a camera. So it's been water damaged, this phone, which I think is how the repair started as a requirement due to the water damage. So I've just unplugged that, unplug those, just unplug the camera, put that to one side. Okay, we've got everything out of here now. Let's just see. So now that should, in theory, what's going on here? Just gonna lift it slowly. Slowly does it. There's something wrong here. So at times like this, I know I've got all of the screws that I'm supposed to get out. However, the board isn't coming out. I think that this repair has been done in situ. They've not taken this board out to do this repair. Because that there looks like flux all dried up on the bottom of there. That's all cracked. Let me just remove that for now and see if anything else has been done under here. Okay, so that sticker's come off. Someone's pulled that sticker off and had a little look underneath it. I'm just going to put this screw pad to one side. Okay, I'm just going to look under the microscope and make sure everything's okay here. So let's have a little look. Yeah, everything looks okay under there. There's no problem there. It's just basically because this repair has been done whilst it's been in situ in the frame. Let's put that piece of Kapton tape out of here. We don't need that anymore. Right, go to microscope view, and what we're going to do first here is we're just going to sort out the basics first. So what we'll do for this repair is we're just going to rip off everything that we don't want. So I'm going to turn my heat plate on first. So first thing, we're going to get rid of this. Let's get rid of this jumper. It is stupid putting it there in the first place. Turn the board around and get a bit better view there. Sorry if you're not used to viewing the board from this way up. I don't really care which way up it is, as long as I can access the components. So that's the bit I'm taking off. Yeah, not that bit. Sorry, I wasn't looking in the right place then. That is coming off. That is not going to be part of my repair. Okay, so we shield it off first. We do not want to damage this board, even though the person that was here before me didn't really give a damn about that. I really do hope the person that did this watches this video and learns something from this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to get some flux here, and I'm going to stick some flux on the scene. Flux, yoo-hoo. Right. Turn my hot air gun on. Right, that plate's up to heat now. So I'm going to turn that off for a moment. We've preheated the board. We now need to preheat the hot air gun. Okay. Up to speed, up to heat and up to speed. Right, let's move my phone to one side. My dodgy water damaged iPhone that I went down a water slide with. That was silly. Fortunately, I fix iPhones for a living. Okay. That's off. Right. I'm just going to clean that area up a bit now. Okay. Let's have a little look. There we go. So that's gone now. All I want to make sure now is that all of that solder that was there, that big glob of solder, hasn't gone elsewhere and shorted anything out. So that's my first challenge. Right, let's just zoom in here. Okay. I'm just getting rid of all of this underfill now from around the area. Do hope you can see all of this. There we go. So we've just cleaned that area up a bit now. Getting quite a reflection there. Let me just try and turn my light down a bit. Zoom in and out for you there a bit. Okay, so right, what we had there before was an unholy mess of a little lump of solder. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to dry that area up a bit. Okay. We'll end up getting a bit more there, but it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a little glob of bloop, a little bit of flux. I've just ordered some new tips for my iron because I've run out of tips and this is my last one. It's a emergency tip and it's blunt. So, nice one Wayne for not having the correct equipment for the job. However, unfortunately, I am quite skilled at this now, so even with a ruddy big iron, I can somehow still do it. So, we need the correct filter. Stress that again. The correct filter going in its place. You can buy these on eBay. I know they're expensive. You'll spend like a couple of quid for the kit to replace this backlight, but you can get them off Mauser. You know, you don't have to buy them off eBay. I buy them in packs of like 100 or 200 at a time. There we go. So that's the replacement component. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get that on my tweezers. I have just ordered some new tweezers as well. I've had one of those moments where I just couldn't be bothered ordering stuff off the internet. And as a result, I've started running out of stock of everything. Okay. I'm just going to stick a bit more flux. I wasn't very happy about how that swung back at the end. That seemed an unnatural swinging at the end there. It was kind of out of place. And then it suddenly just popped into position. That like wasn't my skill, that was purely accidental. Okay, I'm sure that's in place now. You can see either edge really, you can see it, and if you give it a good nudge, if you give it a good ping ping, dee, 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 it don't move. So that is how to do the backlight fuse. Now, carrying on with the repair. This is to get rid of the unholy mess that was created by the last person now. So, what they've done is they have, let's turn on, right, what we want to do first is, okay, so I'm getting rid of someone else's mess, we have to remove it. Now, the risk here is it's nearby the CPU, so I'm going to turn this board around again. So, what we have is, we've got, first of all, to remove, we have this diode which they've wedged on top of the CPU. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to snip that there, snip that off. I'm not going to pull these because I don't know how well they've attached them to them pads. If it's anything like the rest of their repair, they'll probably just fall off. But I'm just going to clean up that CPU first, so I can get good adhesion to it with this Kapton tape. So straight over the top of that CPU now, we're going to stick a nice big piece of Kapton tape. Okay. And then we've got our working area here. This is where we're going to be working. I'm going to tie the board down a bit more. It's a bit damp, it's a bit wet, so I'm just going to tie it down there as well. I'm just going to tie it down a bit over there. So that's the board pretty much stuck down now, so it's not going to move. I move my hot plate rather than moving the board now. So what I'm going to do is, first things last, I'm going to remove this coil so I can get access. Oh, need a little bit more flux. Okay, now I'm not sure here whether they're going to have damaged. I'm not sure here whether they're going to have damaged this. There we go, that's that off. Whether they're going to have damaged the IC, the backlight IC. Hopefully they haven't. Okay, that's that jumper off. I mean, I just don't get it. Why all the jumpers? Why not just put the diode where it's supposed to blooming go? Why not just put this here, this, why not put it there? That's where it's supposed to go. What's the point? Anyway, we digress. I don't like taking the rip out of people's work, but when it genuinely is shocking. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to clean up this area now we've done that. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get rid of all this underfill from around here where the diode goes. So I'm going to zoom all the way in and I'm going to inspect this area. Okay, you want to make plenty of room now, just so we can get this diode in properly. Oh, there we go. So that's where the diode's going. Right, so all I'm going to do now is get our soldering iron. I'm just going to get rid of some of this mess. Get our iron. Okay. Need some business cards because I'll burn my hand on my heat plate. I'm just going to tin up them pads now. You notice when they're nicely tinned because they go all shiny. Right, that's not enough on there at the moment, so I'm just going to flux it up. Okay. Just going to flux it up and then we can just put a couple of nice little blobs on there now. So, okay. We've done them too. I've also done the, what's his name while I was there. Done where the coil goes. So, there we go, that's the coil looking nice there. Right, what we're going to do here now is we're just going to sort out all these pads here. And then we're going to prep the area so that we can put the capacitors back again as well. So we just need a little bit of heat. Now we don't need much heat now for this. So I'm going to turn my heat gun all the way down to 100 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get rid of all of this underfill here around the side. Okay. I'm going to chip it all away. Remember, we're not on very hot here. Okay. It's nearly done. Just be careful not to damage the... I'm not going to change the IC at the moment. I'm going to assume that they've not killed the IC. Might be a mistake on my behalf. I may end up coming back and having to do it anyway. But we'll see. Right, so That's starting to look a bit prettier now. You know, these boards are supposed to look good as well. I know nobody sees them, but you know, what's done here is supposed to look presentable, which presentable is functional. You know, everything in electronics has got an order to it. I'm just going to turn this up to give my soldering iron a bit of help. So I'm going to turn the hot air gun up to about nearly 200. And I'm just going to give it some assistance here. Okay. Just give it a bit of assistance. I've just nudged a component there. You just have to remember about that. Don't do anything about it yet, you just remember. Okay. Just remember about it. I think we're almost done there now. A little bit more flux on that bit. Okay. Just got a little bit up there just to get rid of. There it is. Right, gone. Okay. I'm just going to turn my iron up a bit now. About 290 should do. I'm just going to get my scalpel and we're just going to nudge that little component, that little dude, as Jessa says. Back into place. There we go. We remembered, we put it back. Right? Knock it out the place, put it back. Okay. This foam will work without these components, you know. This is why people don't put them on. It will work, it'll just be a little bit less stable. Right. Right. So what we've done there, we've just added a tiny bit of solder, a little lump, a little bump to each one of them. I was going to take the other ones off as well down here. These are VCC main caps. In fact, yeah, I think I'll take them off because I've just started to clean up this area and that one started falling off of its own accord. So, see that one there? So, whoever's been playing around here before me has... how's that one? That's not too bad, that's actually in place. Okay. We'll just move that out of the way. I'm just going to keep that on my tweezers for now. Turn my hot air down. Okay. And I'm just going to Clean up them pads. Okay, they're cleaned up. Put a bit of flux on. And we're going to do the same again. We're just going to put a little dome on there. Not as easy, that one, because the ground plane sucks up a lot of heat. Okay, what are we up to now? We're up to 30 minutes so far on this repair. Probably another reason why whoever did this before didn't bother, because it takes a lot longer to do the repair. So what we're going to do now is, I'm going to get the diode. I'm going to stick the diode back in again. Okay. Where's my tweezers? Get my diode. Okay, so we just need a bit of flux. Over here. Okay. That diode's going in that little gap down there. So we need some heat down here. We're going to go for about 280, 290 we'll go for. Okay. Just going to zoom in. Okay. That's our diode there. The problem here I've got is I need some angled tweezers. Where's my angled tweezers? There we are. Whoop. I think I just blew away. Yep. It's gone. Never mind. Fortunately, we order these in packs of 200, so we get another one. Like I say, it's very difficult to do this on camera. Not only are you trying to do the repair, but you're also trying to compensate for the awkwardness of the camera as well. There we go. Right. Just get another one of them. Okay, that just stuck down then on one side. Okay. That's now in place, that. The problem we've got here with leaving this chip in here is that it's underfilled. So there's always a chance that heating it up could cause the underfill to then cause the balls to melt the pressure underneath then causes the solder to just blob out. It's got nowhere to go because it's underfilled, and you end up short-circuiting. So that's the issue, really. We'll put the correct coil in now. So this is the correct coil I'm about to put in. Much bigger than the old one that was there. Need a bit more flux. Much, much, much bigger than the old one that was in there. So again, they're built with tolerances, these things, which is why it probably worked for a bit. With the old one in there. So that's in. Right. Let's get this back again. Okay, so we're just going to fit a capacitor now. That's my phone going now. We'll ignore that just for the time being. Put that on silent. Right, so this one is going to go back into place now. This was the one that I was never intending on doing. This is the one that fell off. Okay, that's the one that fell off. So now we're over to the 3 backlight caps. You'll notice just here, just at the top, this is where I have a small problem with sometimes. See that there? That is a little bit of extra solder that shouldn't be there. So that bit of extra solder has to come off, otherwise we'll have some issues here. Okay, that's gone now. So that's nice and flush, that is now. Okay, so we're just going to get some backlight caps now. Where are they? Yeah, there we are. There's the backlight caps. Okay, and lo and behold, you know, we're going to fit 3 of these. I'm not sure why we're going to fit 3 when the other guy just fitted 1 of them. But, you know what I mean? Why would you put things back as Apple designed them? Why would you? Why would we do that? Oops. Do you know what? This isn't going well today. Right. Let's get another cap. I think it's my tweezers. I'm not very happy with these tweezers. I'm starting to they're starting to wear down. Okay. The problem when the tweezers wear down is that they're no longer level. You know, the tips of them are no longer level, so you're trying to hold a component into place and you're only holding it on one side. Like I say, I've got some more coming soon anyway. I'm actually going through caps like there's no tomorrow on this board because I've just knocked another one off. Well, the biggest problem is trying to do them with the camera on, because I can only see through one eye. If I was to get the right microscope, the really expensive microscope, I'd be able to see through two eyes whilst I'm showing you video footage. Okay, so them three in place now. Okay, I'm not actually sure what the value of the other two is, so I'm just going to look on my PC. I've not got ZXW tools installed on the Mac yet. In fact, I don't even know whether I can install ZXW tools on the Mac, so I'll have to work that out. If I've got the cap to go onto these other two, I'll put that straight on now. iPhone 6. Okay, I'm just loading it up. So it's been 43 minutes now, this. Okay, so we've got that one, we've got 2.2, 2.2, 2.2, 15 microfarad, 15 microfarad. So that there, those two caps that are missing are 15 microfarad, 6.3 volts, and they are for the PP0V9.5, 0.95 SoC. So that's for the actual CPU. Those two are. Anyway, what I'm going to do for now is, I don't want this video to go on too much longer, so I'm not going to put them two on while we're doing this video. They will go on before it goes back to the customer, But all I want to do now is just to make sure that this backlight's working fine. So what I've done there is the backlight repair. That's what we've got, and that's what we were out to repair. And that's what we've actually done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just cleaning it all up. I'm cleaning off all this flux. There's a lot of flux on this board now. So we'll clean it all off. It's a hell of a lot because while I'm doing my repairs, I like to make sure there's always plenty of flux on there. Just helps the repair go much smoother. You find everything gets stuck to the board quicker. It's just a nice quick repair. Okay. So what we have now is we've got our, just make sure that one's okay. Yeah, that's all right. Do you know, I thought there was long screw damage on this board then. I was about to just go, ah! So, instead of us having some jumpers everywhere, we now have a backlight coil. We have the diode where it's supposed to be. We have 3 caps where they're supposed to be, instead of one over here. And we have the backlight filter as it should be, right? So that is how you're supposed to do this repair. So now, if we get this board out of here, off there, right? Try and keep it in view so nobody accuses me of switching boards and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure nobody will do that. But I'm not going to screw this in. Literally, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to do that, do that. Okay. In fact, just before I do this, one thing you should always do, just before you power this board up, is just check that it's not shorting to ground, because if I do this and it's all shorting to ground, got open there, that's open, that's fine, backlight is connected to there, that's okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, so where were we? So yeah, you just make sure of these things first, because if I put power into there and it's short into ground, you know, it's just going to cause a huge load of problems. It could blow the board in some certain areas. You know, it can make a lot more work, and in some cases it can make this thing totally unfixable. So let's put that in. Connect up the charge port, get the customer screen. Hopefully that's not been damaged. Okay. We'll plug it in. Like I say, this is just for testing now, because we've got to finish after this. We've got to put the shield back on. We've got to put them 2 caps in place. So, you know, we want to make sure this is a professional repair, not some botch one that's... Okay, so that's fine. Turn the screen back so you can see it, and then power it up. Okay, so we're getting current draw. Not getting anything on the display at the moment. Right, the phone's booted up. We're not getting anything on the display. Okay. Let's just see if it's backlight or whether it's no image entirely. Okay. Okay, let me just Okay, so it is still no backlight on this after this repair. Okay, yeah, we're not getting any backlight still on this. We've unplugged the battery again. Let's do that. I'm just going to check once more under the microscope, and we're going to have another little look to see what's wrong. Okay, so I imagine as part of the other repair, or as part of this, the backlight IC has gone. So I'm just going to change the backlight IC as well on this, which many of you are saying, why, oh why didn't you just do that when you windshield wiped the whole circuit? Well, I find it quite a job, and to do this afterwards is actually quite a simple repair. You know, to change this IC after you've done all of this work to clean up the area is actually quite a straightforward repair. So, you know, it's not something hugely difficult to do now to change this IC now. So all we need to do is take the coil off, take the diode off, put them to one side, remove that, clean up the area, and reattach the three components. It's not a really big job, whereas putting an IC on is a big job. So the only other thing I'd like to test on this first is just to make sure that the customer's screen hasn't been killed. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then we'll carry on this repair. I'll be back with you shortly once we've got the part that we require, and we'll carry on this repair by changing the IC. Hey, welcome back to Bit Repairs. This is Wayne. Just carrying on with this other phone that I had yesterday. That I had to unfortunately leave because I'd done the backlight repair, but the IC was, by the looks of things, was faulty. I've checked a load of other things on this morning just before I started recording, and all the rest of the filters seem okay. So I'm just going to carry on and go ahead with the backlight IC replacement. So what we'll do is, if I just try and get it in view, that is not that. That is the IC that we're going to be replacing. So to get that out, we're going to have to take off this coil, take that diode back out again, get the IC out, and then we're going to put a new IC in. So what I'll do first is get a bit of Kapton tape. There we go. Right, so a bit of Kapton tape, and we'll just stick that over the CPU. I just want to make sure we protect that CPU. And we'll get a little bit of Kapton. Stick it down the other side, just over here. There's a load of components we don't need to touch, so we only want the ones that we're touching to be exposed. I'm just going to clip the Kapton tape back a little bit where this coil is. And if I leave that in place, I'll just show you, just clip that corner there. If I leave that in place, it seems to kind of affect the coil as it's coming out. So I'll just take that out of there. Right, so we're just going to put we're not going to bother with Flux on this to get this coil off. I'll switch over to Microscope view here so you can see this a little bit more clearly. There we go. So we're just going to get this coil off first to get the temperature up. It's okay. Right. So I don't need the microscope now because this coil is positively humongous. I'm just going to place it to one side. Okay. I'm just going to get this off now. It's the diode. My dodgy tweezers. I actually just had my order this morning of my new tips and tweezers that I was saying yesterday, so I'm good to go there now. I've changed the tip over. I'm just going to check something and make sure that this, yeah, that's okay. That should be going to there. Yep, that's okay. I just wanted to check that first, make sure it hadn't been severed. So, right, I don't like them tweezers. I'm going to choose these ones instead. Yeah, I like them much better. Right. So, what we're going to do is this IC, we're just going to move it off the board. So this one, there's plenty of flux here already, so we shouldn't be too worried about this. So, I'm just going to go in straight. Just get this coating off the top first. Waiting for it to wobble. Want it to have a good little wibble wobble before we take it. There we go. Don't want to pull any pads off with these. That's very important. Really don't like having to redo pads on a backlight IC. It's not nice, it's not easy, it's not quick. So if I just zoom in here now, you'll see there all of our pads are fine. Okay, I'm just going to get our soldering iron here now and just clean these pads up. Would help if we turned our soldering iron on. It would. Lots and lots of underfill here. Oh. Dislocated that little one there. There we go. So let's get some isopropyl just to clean this area up a bit. I just want to see what it looks like underneath here now, and then we'll carry on the clean up. I'm assuming it's the IC that's gone here because the way it was before, the diode was on top of the CPU, which I am assuming shorted out at some point because it was in such a stupid place. So I'm assuming that diode got shorted out, which in turn would have blown the IC, and hopefully that's the end of it. Okay. Let's get some more flux on here. Okay. I'm just going to get some leaded solder here now. I'm just going to stick a bit of leaded solder onto this little this little pile. Okay, there we are. Let's just tidy it up again. It's all about do, tidy, do, tidy, do, tidy. You're making sure that this is all kind of ready for the IC again now. You don't want any bits lying around. So I can see bits lying around there, that's not good. I'm going to have to switch off your view for a second because I can't see how big them bits are. So I just have to switch off your microscope view because I need to be able to see clearly now what's left behind. So I'm just kind of scraping away and tidying up. Most important, you see, we want this IC to have the freedom to go where it has to go, where it wants to go. If it's obstructed in any way, it's not going to be able to go where it needs to go. So that's when you end up with a failed IC. You notice when you heat these things up, they move around from where you place them on the board into their designated spot. So they don't have that freedom to move around. They're not going to work properly. So that's looking okay now there. I've just cleared all that area up. Okay, I'm just going to stick a bit more isopropyl on just to polish it up a little bit. I want to make sure there's nothing at all there that could possibly make this stick while it's trying to find its place. I'm just going to heat it up a bit there now. Okay. I think they're all okay. So what we're going to do now, I'm just not happy a little tiny bit at the front of it. Tiny bit at the front. I don't like that. It doesn't look like much. In all fairness, it probably won't make any difference, but I'm not out to be wasting ICs. not the cheapest things in the world, and if it doesn't work, you don't want to be second guessing yourself, doubting that you've done it right to begin with. You want to be 100% sure that that IC went on perfect. Because if this doesn't work after I've changed this IC, there's not very much more to the circuit that you can investigate. It pretty much always is this area here, the IC, the diode, the coil, the capacitors. It's all of those. And if you've changed all of them and it's still not working, then you're almost out of ideas. Right, so I'm happy with that now. Okay, it's been a few days since I've done a backlight IC on a 6, so I'm just trying to remember which way it goes. Let me get my 6, that's a 6S backlight IC. Let's just turn that off for now. Connector, backlight touch, 6G backlight IC. I think this is one of them. Hey, I got one left in there. I think I've actually got more somewhere else, but I can't find it yet. No. I am going to order some tomorrow, so well, some chips and other things. I need some HDMI ports. Right, let me just ZXW tools. Where's my dongle? It's not plugged in. There we go. Okay, that's just loading up now. I really should remember which way around these go. The amount of times I've done it. You go through that many things that you just forget. iPhone 6. There's a new one on there. iPhone 6 FPC. Not spotted that before. Do a little look at that later. So, iPhone 6 data loading. I think it's pointing away from the CPU. Let's have a little look if I was right. Yeah, it's pointing directly away from the CPU. Okay, so I'm just going to put some flux on here to where this chip's going. Let me turn your camera view back on again. I'll hopefully be able to give you a view of this. Okay. That's going into there. Let's try and give you a better view. Can you see me? There you are. I just can't see it good enough with one eye. I just can't see good enough with one eye. Sorry, I'm going to have to turn it off again. I really cannot see. When I bought this microscope, I didn't actually intend on doing YouTube videos with it, so I never thought about getting a trinocular one with simul focus on it. There we go. So, I mean, you can see that fine now, but to me it looks like the little tiniest IC on this camera. And like I said before, you don't want to be second guessing yourself that you've done this right. So I'm just waiting for this to get back up to temperature again. Okay, we're up to temperature, so I'm just going to hold this into place. Okay, so I'll hold it into place first until it's grabbed by a couple of pads. As soon as it's grabbed a couple of pads, then I'll let go and I'll use my scalpel. Okay, gave it a nudge, and it went back to where it was. So that's how you know it's happy. Okay. Now I could use the same diode as before, but I don't want to take that risk that that diode got shorted out by a faulty chip. So I'll also change the diode as well, because these diodes just blow if you look at them the wrong way. So if you sneeze in the wrong direction, you'll blow one of these diodes. It's my opinion anyway. So they're just so delicate. So every time I've had one that's gone through any kind of stress, I just replace it. I always replace it. Can't see the stripe on it. Let's just turn off your view again. Zoom in. Not sure which way the stripe is on this, so there we go. Sorry, the diodes are like one of the smallest things. There we go. That's done, that is now. It's absolutely minuscule. I often lose the blooming things. Now for the coil, to go back on again. I'm just going to clean it up a bit first. Okay, coil going back on there. It'll find its way again. I like to keep it away from there a little bit. I like to just nudge it out myself. So it's such a big component. Right, so here we're almost done. We've just got a little bit of an issue here where these caps were jumping together. So I'm just going to get the scalpel and I'm just going to pull them apart. Okay. This one's decided to stick to there now. It's absolutely tiny work, this. The only thing I've got at the moment is I'll try and show you what's happened, just so you know what can happen here. Sorry about the focus there. See that there is shorting out against there. So I'm just going to get my soldering iron on. I'm just going to try and pull some of that off. So we really don't want that short into there. I might have to wick it in a minute if I can't get it. Okay, so there's still a little bit there. Get a bit of flux on there, it should help things. Okay. There we go, that's that pulled off there. I just want to get rid of some of this solder off that pad. I think there might be a little bit much there. Right, see if we can get this cap back on again. Oh. And there it is. So we just want to see if we can get this back on again without any too much fuss. Okay. Okay. I'm fairly happy with that now. You can see there, we've got our capacitors in place. Got our backlight IC, our diode, our coil. Right, let's just clean that up a little bit. We just want to check we're not shorting to ground. Okay. There we go, that's all them cleaned up. Right, I'm just going to check again now on these caps. One on there. We're okay there. We've got the correct resistance on VCC main. Okay. It's open circuit there. So we should hear. We've remember those other two caps that we've got to put back on again, but they're not part of the backlight circuit, so we don't need to worry about those for the time being. All we're worried about still is backlight. So let us test again now and see if we've got backlight on this phone. Just clean it all up a bit. I just want to clean up the connectors so that I've got an easy connection. If I don't clean up these connectors, all the flux can just make it a difficult job to get the connectors back on again. Okay, that's that done. Right, so let me switch back over to main view. There we go, this is the board. Okay, going back in the phone again. I did actually test this with another screen as well. I know I mentioned that I was going to test it with another screen. I did test it beforehand just to make sure it wasn't the screen that was faulty. Okay, so that's that. Right, let's get the screen, customer's screen. Top connector. LCD connector. Camera connector and button. I know I don't need to do these, but the thing is, if I leave them waggling around, there's a chance they'll short out somewhere. So connect. we don't have any smoke. It's a good start. Let's push the power button. Whee! Oh yeah! That's it. So this one was a horrifically failed repair by another engineer. I'll turn it away just in case there's customer data on the screen. Made a right mess of it, and it needed an entire new backlight. It would have taken a lot less time had I just totally wiped the whole circuit out anyway, instead of just changing some bits of it. There's no customer data on there, phone's booted, that's fine, so that's okay, we're good to go there. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could have just wiped the whole thing out and started again, which is probably what I should do, but I don't know. I just like to leave the IC in place until I absolutely have to take it off. I don't like taking the IC off, and yeah, just a personal preference. Everyone's different. Some people will prefer just to wipe the whole circuit out and start again. So there we are. I will finish the rest of this phone off now. I'm going to put those two caps on. I'm going to put the shield back on over this CPU. I'll put a little bit of heatsink compound there as well. And then this phone is good to go back to the customer as a repair. So there we are. Thanks very much again for watching. Let's just test it. There we go. Off, on, off, on, off, on. Yep, there we go. Right, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you all have good repairs. I hope they all go well and to plan, which I suppose mine did go to plan in the end. I've got a lot more to do today. I might do some more videos. Now I've got my Mac, then it's certainly a lot easier job recording these videos and publishing them. So you should see a lot more from me now. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. And if this was your phone and I've told it was your phone, then I hope you enjoyed watching the repair and seeing how it's actually done. Thanks again. Bye.